This should be a pretty easy section. We're just going to implement an accelerometer, much like we did in PhoneGap. So let's go to our NetBeans, and first of all we need to add a link to the accelerometer. So I'm going to copy this link to the camera page and just change that to accelerometer. Whoop, what did I do here? Alright, so you get the link. We need to include the JavaScript page for it, which isn't going to be big at all. And then we need to add the actual panel. I'll copy the geolocation panel. Let's see, title. ID. I'm going to get rid of the data load and the style, and then get rid of the content. Alright, so essentially what we want to do is we want to have a button that will allow us to start the accelerometer, and then we'll have a button when we want it to stop, and we'll have a frequency of how long we want to pass before it reads it again. So maybe a 200 millisecond. Every 200 milliseconds it'll update, so we can actually make it look like it's just updating as it goes. So what we want to do first is we want to have some buttons. So we're going to say button, and we want to add a couple classes. First of all, we want our button class, which is what we've been using, which is built into the the app framework, which gives us better looking buttons. And aside from the button class, we can use actual colors. So this is going to be the start button, so I'm going to give it a color of green. So the next thing we want to do is we need an on-click handler, which we'll call watch accelerator. Okay. So let's copy this and make the stop button, and we'll make that red. And the function this is going to call is clear accelerometer. And you can see that a lot of these APIs are the same, they work the same way as PhoneGap. So that's why I'm not going to go over every single API in XDK, because we've done most of it in PhoneGap and it's not much different. Okay, so that looks good. Now we just need a place to put the readings. So I'm going to put in a BR tag and then create a div, and we'll give it an ID of accel readings. And inside here we can just put fetching data. So that's all the HTML that we need. Now we need to go to, did we include our file, accelerator.js? Yep, so now we need to create that file. So I'm going to say new JavaScript accelerometer. So first thing I'm going to do is create a watch ID. So it's a variable watch ID. We're just going to declare it, and next we are going to call the success callback function. So we'll call that on cell success, and that's going to take a acceleration parameter. Okay, so we need the element that we want to insert the readings in, which is, let's see, get rid of these geolocation and camera and style. What was it? A cell readings. So that's what we want to grab. So we'll say a cell element is equal to document dot get element by ID a cell readings. Alright, and now we want to insert the HTML, so we're going to say a cell element dot inner HTML is going to be equal to, and we're going to say acceleration X, and we're going to concatenate acceleration dot X, and then we'll concatenate a BR tag. Okay. Whoop. And do another plus. Now this here, this acceleration dot X, this is coming from the parameter we put in. So whatever we put in here is that's the object we can use to get the acceleration points. So we have X, Y, and Z. So next, let's see. Next, we're going to say acceleration Y, and then we're going to do the same thing. Acceleration dot Y. Alright, that looks good. Alright. So next, acceleration Z. And then finally, we want the timestamp. And we can get that. Actually, let's bring this, just like it to look neat and lined up. So we can get acceleration dot timestamp. Alright, so that's going to insert our HTML. we got to create the watch accelerometer function, which is going to be called when we click start. So function accelerometer. See, and we want to create an options variable or an options array, and options dot frequency is going to be equal to 100 milliseconds, and then we want our watch ID is going to be equal to @mobi dot accelerometer dot watch acceleration. That's the main API, and that's what calls our callback function that we just created. And we want to pass in our options as well. So this is very easy. The last thing we want to do is the clear function. Clear accelerometer, and all we got to do is call the API @mobi dot accelerometer dot clear watch, and clear watch is going to take in our watch ID. Watch ID. So that's all there is to creating an accelerometer that you can manually start and stop. So we have the function watch accelerometer fires off when we click the watch acceleration button. It takes a couple different options. Here we're only specifying the frequency, which is just the amount of time that goes by between each reading, which in our case is going to be 100 milliseconds. And then we're going to set the watch ID to the actual API, which is @mobi.accelerometer.watchAcceleration. That spits out a callback, which is our success callback, and it also takes in the options, which we created here. And the callback is going to look for a div with this accel readings as the ID, and then it's going to put in the HTML this little chunk of information here, which are the coordinates of acceleration and then timestamp. And then we have the clear accelerometer, which just simply shuts it off. The watch acceleration is no longer in progress. So let's save that. Let's save our HTML. And go back and reload and click on accelerometer, and you can see we have two nice stop and go buttons. If we click watch accelerator, something should happen. Stop. Alright, so let's look at the console. Alright, so watch accelerator is not defined. It's watch accelerator. Accelerator. No, it should be accelerometer. Sorry about that. Alright. Let's try this again. Okay, so still not working. but we're also not getting any errors. So it has no method added in listeners. Probably a typo. Watch ID. Oh, I don't have the parentheses after the function, so we just want to put parentheses and then a semicolon. It's not knowing that it's a function that's supposed to be called. So let's try this hopefully one more time. Alright, there we go. So you can see the timestamp going. We can move around the accelerometer controls over here. Y axis, Z, X, can mess with them all, and you can see the response printed out on the screen. And then we can stop it. Okay, so that just quickly stops it. No page loads or anything. Quickly start it up again. So pretty easy, pretty cool stuff though. So that's it for the accelerometer. Next, I believe that we'll be getting into the camera API. I'm sorry, the contacts API. We already did the camera.